Hi guys, this week we're going to be talking about what I would do if I had £10,000, £50,000 or £100,000. So if you've got some money and you're thinking, how do I invest this, what should I do, is property right for me, check out this video, it should help you. £10,000. The best investment you can make is in yourself. I would put £10,000 into education, assuming I hadn't already been educated. People say that education is expensive. People say that putting £10,000, £15,000 down a program, like where's the reward? Like, why would I do that when I could put that into a house? Well, I know personally I've spent over £15,000 on my education, and since then I've earned in excess of £75,000 from that. Not to mention the fact I quit my job. I'm now living a much more fruitful life. I live a freer life. I can't put a price, I can't put a value on some of those things. But if I just simply look at the return on investment cash-wise, I put 15k in, got 75k out, so it's still a really, really good return on your investments. That's all inside 12 months. So if I value education purely on return on investment, it's going to give me a massive return on investment, some of which that are just completely priceless. So that'd be the first thing I invest in. If we assume we are already educated in property, so we know about the strategies, we know how to raise finance, we know how to do some more of the creative stuff, lease options, and rent to SAs and developments and things like that. If we assume we already know all this, what would I put my money into? If I had £10,000, I would probably look at doing some lease options, and I'd look to deal source as well. So I'd go out and I'd begin to speak with agents, send out letters, speak to people who can't sell the house or in negative equity, and try and get some lease options for myself, because I know in 5-10 years time that capital appreciation is going to taste so sweet. That would be my main strategy for myself. Alongside that, I would do some deal sourcing and spend about £2,000 setting up a deal sourcing company. And I'd look to sell just one deal a month, probably like an HMO or maybe a rent-to-rent, something like that. Find a deal, package it up and sell it onto an investor for a fee, make £2,000 or £3,000 a month. And I've got a steady income, a decent lump sum, and I'm still doing things in property, but most of my time is spent on lease options, playing the long game but getting a small amount of cash flow now. And you have a choice as to how you build that. I mean, if you start deal sourcing and really love it, you could build that business and it could earn you much, much more than a couple of £1,000 a month, or you can keep it small. It's really flexible, it's really down to you. £50,000, what would I do with £50,000? £50,000 you can do a lot more with. Again, assume you've already been educated, but you should definitely get educated if you're not. I'd look at doing some buy, refurb, refinance deals and still look at doing some lease options. Like I said already, the capital appreciation in 5 or 10 years time is awesome. If you've got 50k, it doesn't matter if your house needs a little bit of a refurb or you need to cover some mortgage arrears. You have a little bit more option there because your cash isn't going to get sucked up into one deal. I would definitely be looking at lease options, playing the long game, but on the side of that, I'd be looking at doing some buy, refurb, refinance deals as well. That effectively means buying a house that's maybe BMV or that just needs a lot of work, adding value to that house by refurbing it. So maybe adding a new kitchen, painting throughout, new carpets, a new boiler, new bathroom, maybe a new driveway, giving the whole place a good clean and maybe painting inside and out, things like that. Just add value to this house because you've looked and said, well, if I bought it for 50k, I could spend £10,000 on it, it's going to be worth 75 or 80 or £90,000. I can then get a mortgage at the new value, pull out most of my money, if not all of it, and I'm leaving a small amount of money in that deal. Now, if we assume it's a single let, it's probably going to net me between £150 and £350 a month cash flow, but you've got a house that you maybe spent £2,000 to £10,000 on this property. So your portfolio from there, if you keep doing that, will have nice properties in that you haven't spent a lot of money on. It's going to give you a decent cash flow. And again, in 5 or 10 years time, you're going to benefit massively from that capital appreciation. So 50k, I'd be looking at doing buy, refurb, refinance. Alongside that, I would look at doing some lease options. You can do a lot with £50,000. Be creative and have a look at your options. Maybe look at doing some joint ventures or raising finance as well if you feel like you just need a little bit more. You can do a lot with 50k. If I had £100,000, I'd be looking to get into some small developments, some title splits, maybe taking a pub, converting it into 4, 5 or 6 flats, refinancing individually and then pulling out most of my money again. But that's a slightly larger project, might take 3, 6 or 9 months to do, but they are really going to benefit you because you'll have 6 lots of capital appreciation plus the value of the freehold and also 6 lots of cash flow from one deal. And you might find that you'll leave maybe 20k or 30k in that deal. But it's a quicker way of acquiring multiple units that you can rent out. When you've got £100,000, it can take you up to 12 months to spend that if you were just buying properties or just doing single let. So if you were doing rent to service accommodation, you might get massive cash flow because it takes you time to get through all of that, and over 6 months period, maybe half your money has never even been spent. It's been kept in the bank account, shrinking that whole time. If you do a deal like this, you can put most of your money in it, you can get it working, you can pull it back out and go on to the next deal. You can stagger the deals, so when one finishes, the next one starts. £100,000 you can turn into £500,000 in a very short space of time. You'd be surprised how quickly it goes up, and that's without even accounting for things like capital appreciation. So if you've got £100,000 sat in your bank, or maybe you've got access to it, you should really begin to think about, what are my options? It's not just a case of buying a house and renting it out. You can do a lot, and with things like development finance and bridging, you don't need millions of pounds to get into development. The government desperately needs more housing. There's lots of incentives for people purchasing houses, developing houses, and estate agents love you as well, because most properties like this, like an old rundown pub, they've probably been on sale for 4 or 5 years, and you can come in, you can take that off them and get a good deal on it, and you can provide housing, and you've got 6 units in your portfolio. They're really, really good strategies there, and you don't need millions of pounds to get into them. As I mentioned, bridging and development finance will actually lend you all of the money you need to do the refurb. So even if you've got £1 million refurb, you just need someone with experience sat in on the project to make it happen, and they will lend on that project, and they will give you all the money you need to see that project through to completion. So you're £100,000, I would consider getting into some small developments. If not, you can't go wrong just buying property, renting it out, and holding it over a long period of time. You will make money. Stats show that you are going to make money, but you might find you can make more money if you look at some different options and you're prepared to do a little bit of work, or wait 6-9 months before you see your money, and you might find that you'll actually make a lot more than just buying houses. Don't forget, if you don't have any money whatsoever, you could still get into deals like this. You could still get into buy refurb refinance. You can still buy houses. You can still do lease options. You can do everything with no money. You just have to find someone who does and have them lend you that money, or raise the cash some other way. Maybe do a joint venture and split the profits. There's 1,000,001 ways to make it happen. You just have to decide that you want to make it happen and get yourself out there and meet these people who also want to make it happen. I promise you those people exist. I hope this video has been of help. If you're thinking of investing in property, explore the options, get yourself trained, get yourself educated, and take hold of your financial future.